Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. This is David Tear, where I've been featuring my personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. And today I'm up to song number 2558, and that one is Hip to Be Square by Huey Lewis and the News. This was a number three hit in 1986, and it was also featured on their 1986 album called Fore. And here's a picture of Huey Lewis and the News at around the time they recorded it. And I've already featured a couple songs by them earlier, so I'm not gonna give an overview of Huey Lewis and the News. Just suffice it to say they were a very successful kind of 80s. I don't know if you call them new wave or kind of retro rock band. They were from San Francisco, and they're one of my favorite bands from the 80s. Partly because I have nostalgia for them because they were from my home city, San Francisco, where I grew up and spent a lot of my life. Also, I just really like their music, so including this song. Anyway, I guess I just want to talk about the song "Hip to Be Square." It's an interesting song, I think. I mean, basically, what they're saying in the song, and I think it's true, what they're saying is that if you look at the 80s, there was kind of a return to being what used to be called square. Like in the 50s, I think it started in the 50s, people that were thought of as being uncool, like nerds or, just kind of your pencil geeks or whatever. They were called square. And I guess what Huey Lewis and the News were saying, and that it started becoming cool to be square in the '80s, and I think that's true. I mean, I saw it, and I think it was actually a good thing. And I just want to say one more thing about. Oh yeah, I should also mention that they used the vocals of four members of the San Francisco 49ers in this song. 49ers were a a very great football team in the 80s. I think you guys might know that they won, I think, five Super Bowls during the 80s. Their star player was Joe Montana. I'm sure you've all heard of him. And actually, he was one of the people singing. The other three were Ronnie Lott, another very famous player. I think he was the receiver. Joe Montana was the quarterback. Also, Dwight Clark and Ricky Ellis. They all sang vocals. I just learned this today, by the way. I didn't even know this before. But like I said, they were a very popular San Francisco band, and I guess one way they increased their popularity was to promote the 49ers on the song. And it's kind of interesting too because both this album, Four, and the previous album, Sports, which was a really big album right before this one, had a lot of hits on it. They both involve kind of sports themes, I guess. At least their titles do. So I guess it's sort of appropriate to use the 49ers in this song. But I just want to say one more thing about this song, Hip to Be Square. Like I said, it did become hip to be square in the 80s, and I think one reason it did was because of this movie here, Revenge of the Nerds. And I love this movie. I mean, I remember I watched it right when it came out in 1984. And I think we had a real Revenge of the Nerds in the 80s, which was kind of like what Huey Lewis and the News are singing about. I mean, and it probably wasn't just this movie that made that happen. I think it was also like the fact that the PC industry was a big booming industry, and I think you guys all know that the two biggest pioneers of the PC industry were Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. They were both nerds who worked out of their garages, and they both became billionaires based on the PC industry. So I mean, if nerds could become billionaires, then they weren't nerds anymore, in my opinion. But anyway, I guess that completes my profile on Hip to Be Square by Huey Lewis and the News. Thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time. Bye.